Hi class, I'm going to be reading you a story called Salmon Boy from the Tlingit tribe, and it's from this bigger book called Flying with the Eagle, Racing the Great Bear, and it's stories from Native North America told by Joseph Bruchac. So here we go. One day in the village of Sitka, a boy asked his mother for some food. It had been a long time since a salmon run, so all that she had was some dry salmon, which she gave to the boy. "This is half moldy," the boy said. "I will not eat half moldy fish." He threw it on the ground and then stepped on it. "The salmon Kwani do not like to be treated that way," the mother said. "Whatever salmon we have, we must eat. We must be thankful for. We do not throw food away. If we throw food away, bad things may happen." The boy, who was close to the time when he would be a young man, ignored her. He walked down to the water to try to catch some seagulls with fish eggs on a small hook. He wrapped his line tightly around his wrist, baited his hook, and threw it into the water near the gulls. Suddenly a huge gull, bigger than any bird he had ever seen before, grabbed his line and pulled him into the water before he could cut himself free. He tried to swim to the shore, but the current was strong and the cold water deep. He called for help, but none of the people was near the water, and no one heard him. As he sank, a canoe full of strange-looking people came to him under the water. They were wearing clothing that shone as brightly as the scales of the fish in the sun. It was the salmon Kwani, the souls of the salmon that had died after swimming upstream to spawn. They pulled him into their canoe. "Half moldy boy," they said, laughing. "Come with us." Then the salmon people carried him out into the ocean to their village. The souls of the salmon looked just like people to the boy. Their village was much like his own village of Sitka. Although they called him Half Moldy Boy, the salmon people treated him well. "You must stay here with us now," they said. Then they showed him to a small house where he could stay. After a time, the boy became hungry. There was no food in the house. He looked all over the village. "I am hungry. What can I eat?" Half Moldy Boy finally said to one of the salmon people. "You see those people there?" the salmon person said to him. "Just go over and say you want to wrestle with them. After a while, because you're strong, you'll get a good hold and throw your opponent down. He will become food, which you may eat. Carry it away from the village and make a fire to cook it. But remember to burn all the bones in the fire when you're through. Then come back to our village and you will be surprised at what you see." Half Moldy Boy did as he was told. He wrestled with one of the young salmon men. When he threw that young man down, his opponent seemed to disappear. All that was left was a salmon at his feet. He carried it away, cooked it, and ate it. When he was done, Half Moldy Boy was so eager to return to the village and see whatever it was that would surprise him that he hurriedly gathered the bones together and threw them quickly into the fire. When he arrived at the village, the young salmon man had thrown down had already returned, but he was bent over, holding his back. "Ah," the man said, "my backbone is hurting me." Then Half Moldy Boy realized that he had been in such a hurry that he had not been careful enough. He quickly ran back to where he had eaten the salmon. There he discovered one tiny bone he had missed and threw it into the fire. When he returned again to the village, he found that the man's backache had disappeared. As the days passed, Half Moldy Boy was taught many things by the salmon people. He learned that there were songs and prayers of thanksgiving that a good fisherman must know. He tried to memorize them all so he'd be able to take them back to his people. With those prayers and songs, his people would be able to do much better when they went fishing for salmon. One day, many of the salmon people in the village started getting into their canoes. "Where are you going?" Half Moldy Boy asked. "We're going to Copper River," one group said. "We are going up to Dry Bay," said another. So the salmon people spoke, referring to each stream where there would be a salmon run. Finally, one group said, "We are going to the little river by Sitka." "I will come with you," said Half Moldy Boy. He climbed into the canoe and paddled with the others. All around him were many canoes filled with salmon returning home from the sea. The groups were going to the rivers where they had been born. As the group he was with approached the river, the salmon people spoke with excitement about the coming battle. "There will be forts in the river to stop us," he said, and the boy realized they were speaking about fish traps. Every now and then one of the salmon would tell another, "Ee-yah! Stand up in the canoe and look around," and the boy would realize that meant jumping up out of the stream. Soon they were in the river by Sitka. The boy saw his own mother there on the bank. He quickly stood up in the canoe, and his mother caught him as he leapt from the river. "Look at the fine fish I have caught," she shouted to her husband. Then her husband noticed the copper necklace on the fish. "What does this mean?" he asked, pointing to where the necklace was. "This is the necklace our son wore." "Yeah," Salmon Boy's mother cried. "This is my son." The two of them carried Salmon Boy home. They placed him on a shelf inside their house, surrounding him with eagle feathers. Then they called for the shaman. When the old man came in, he went straight to the shelf and examined Salmon Boy. "It is my son," said the mother. "I see who he is," the shaman said. "If you do as I say, he will be well." He heated oil in the fire and placed 4 drops on Salmon Boy as he lay there. With each drop, Salmon Boy grew a little larger. At last, the old shaman stepped back. "Cover him and leave him for the night," the old man said. All through the night, the parents waited for dawn, praying that their son would be well. Every now and then a voice would come from the shelf where Salmon Boy lay, but the parents did not uncover him. When the dawn came, the parents removed the cover. There was their son, fully human again. They lifted him up and embraced him. "I've come back to help our people," Salmon Boy said. From that day on, Salmon Boy always remembered the care one must take never to waste food, and never, never offend the souls of the salmon. So kind of a fun story. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will read you guys some more from this book because it is amazing. I'll see you guys later. Bye.